Check out shares of Tesla soaring to all-time highs today, launching the company into the trillion-dollar club for the first time. Let's get to Phil LeBeau, who's got all the news that got it there. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Melissa, a lot of news today on Tesla, a couple of catalysts that moved the stock higher. And again, as you take a look at shares of Tesla, and I know people have been looking at this chart all day long, but we keep showing it to you because one of the catalysts here is Adam Jonas from Morgan Stanley putting out a note today increasing his price target, raising it to $1,200. That was a little bit of the juice underneath it. Remember, Morgan Stanley has, since Tesla's Q3 earnings call, has been very bullish about what the future holds for this company. In fact, Adam Jonas says by 2030 he sees the unit sales, the number of vehicles sold, climbing from 5.8 million to 8.1 million. That shows you how much they expect the sales to increase. That would be a 28% increase. Hertz today is the other part of the story. It ordered 100,000 Tesla Model 3 vehicles that will then be rented out to Hertz customers. So here's how this deal will work between Tesla and Hertz. These rentals will start later next year. So it's not like you're going to be able to see these in the next couple of months. Hertz customers will have dedicated service when they're renting a Tesla Model 3. They'll also have access to the supercharger network. This gave shares of Hertz a nice pop today. The purchase value here, $4.2 billion. Not a bad trade-off if you're Tesla. $4.2 billion sale, so to speak, and then you get a $50 billion pop in the market cap. That was one of the stories today. The other story, which didn't get as much attention and didn't slow down the stock at all, was a letter written by the chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, Jennifer Homendy, who has been very vocal about her criticism of Tesla, sent a letter to Elon Musk blasting their full self-driving beta software rollout, basically saying, look, this system lacks safeguards. In her letter to Elon Musk, she says, if you were serious about putting safety front and center in Tesla's vehicle design, I invite you to complete the action and safety recommendations we issued to you 4 years ago. Remember, Tesla, and we reached out to Tesla for a comment on this letter, Tesla now has driver-facing cameras in the vehicle, one of several moves to increase the safety of people who are using full self-driving. Having said all that, guys, we want to hear more from Jennifer Homendy, and we plan to hear more from her tomorrow morning, an exclusive interview on Squawk Box, 7:15. You don't want to miss what she has to say, and we'll ask her specifically, how do you feel about an automaker rolling out beta software, testing it on American roads with drivers, not test drivers, but drivers like you and I. If we qualify, and we know what Tesla has said in terms of who gets the FSD beta software, and they had some issues over the weekend, but those people who they believe are safe drivers will get this. Now, whether or not the NTSB is comfortable with that, we'll have to see. But remember this, Melissa, the NTSB, it does not regulate vehicle safety. They investigate accidents. They may have comments on what needs to be done, but the regulation of those of all vehicles is up to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
So no matter what she says, there's no teeth to it, Phil.
No, there's not. But the NTSB does carry weight, especially in Washington. You get the NTSB talking enough, there are going to be enough people, not just regulators, but elected officials who start to say, what's going on here?
All right, Phil, thanks. Phil LeBeau.
You bet.
Well, you heard it straight from Phil, Jeff. Didn't matter what the letter said. Didn't matter at all. Tesla's going to march to $1 trillion for a variety of reasons, and here we are.
Yeah, and I don't think that will matter, in particular. And if you really care about safety, I mean, the self-driving is probably safer than an actual human being driving the car. I know people would rather get hurt by another person than a computer, so there's that issue within our own minds. But ultimately, I don't think that's going to be something that impacts the stock, certainly not in the near term. And look, it's breaking out here, so I think you have to respect the momentum, at least to some degree. And there's plenty of good going on right now. Obviously, how they dealt with the supply chain issues, margin, sequential profit growth, the balance sheet continues to improve. So all of those things are good, but I continue to sit on the sidelines with this stock. I've been wrong for a very long time. But listen, Tesla is a car company. 85% of its revenues are from the auto business. And I think right now, for me, the biggest issue is the valuation. And then you're seeing some headwinds in terms of some of these really important growth areas. You have folks talking about Tesla as an integrated energy company or whatever you want to call it. But if you look at the energy storage business and the numbers there, the growth is now slower than the auto business. So you're starting to see potential cracks in the high growth story part of the company that I think a lot of bulls are hanging their hat on. And if you just put some numbers to it, you annualize Q3 numbers, one of their better quarters, if not their best quarter. You're still talking about a stock that trades at 130 times. You look at Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, Nvidia, Netflix, go down the line, and you're still talking about a car company that's trading, multiples of those names. So I still can't get my head around it.
They just secured a 100,000 car order pretty much at full price. Tim, Seymour, I mean, think of the multiplier effect. You roll into a Hertz, you rent a car, you get a Model 3, you love the thing, you start talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tremendous. And they're getting paid for that.
Well, yeah, so genius for Tesla, genius for Hertz, I guess, really. They're the genius here, and that's 20% of last year's production for Tesla. But getting, mainstream consumers inside of a Tesla faster than they might have is obviously fantastic marketing. Look, say whatever you want, and I've said a lot of things about Tesla, but I've never denied that people don't love the driving experience and love the technology. This is only going to help demand. The general is certainly bringing up all the right points on valuation that I won't go into. I've said it too many times over the years. I do think you have a case here where if you're growing your addressable market by that much, that's exciting at a time when the company certainly is showing that they can grow production. This isn't an extraordinary order. I think it's actually bigger news for Hertz on some level, who is now turning themselves into kind of the EV mobility, redesign their whole brand image. And I think this is a very big story for Hertz as much as it is Tesla.
Yeah. Guy, next stop for Tesla.
Well, we've been pretty positive, and it's obviously had a tremendous run. Here's what I'll say at the risk of now getting added by everyone on Twitter. Stock traded north of 3 times normal volume today. I think it traded over 60 million shares, number one. You saw the move. The right thing to do, my opinion, again, is to probably take some money off the table. If you're trading it, and look for a move back to that prior all-time high, which, if memory serves, was $900.40 from January of this year. That's the right thing to do. Other people will say, stay the course, Adam Jonas being one of those people. So there you go. I think it's going to do a back and fill to $900, and I think you buy it again there.